For many men, there is a quiet assumption that they already understand what brings a woman pleasure. This belief is rarely questioned, not out of arrogance, but because it has been inherited from movies, conversations, and incomplete advice passed from one generation to the next. Yet in clinical practice, especially when working with long-term couples, a very different picture emerges. The problem is almost never a lack of desire or effort. It is usually a misunderstanding of how the female body experiences comfort, safety, and sensation at a biological level. After decades of working in men's health and intimate medicine, listening to couples who genuinely care about one another, I have heard the same confusion expressed again and again. A man feels close, invested, and present, yet senses that his partner is distracted or emotionally distant during moments meant to create connection. What is often missing is not romance or passion, but alignment with how the nervous system and pelvic anatomy actually function together. This conversation is not about performance or imitation. It is about understanding the body as it is, not as it is portrayed. When intimacy works well, it does so because the body feels supported, circulation flows easily, and the brain interprets the experience as safe and pleasurable. When those conditions are absent, even strong emotional bonds may not translate into physical satisfaction. One of the most persistent myths is that pleasure depends mainly on intensity, speed, or depth. Those factors may play a role for some, but for many women they are secondary. What matters far more is whether the body can remain relaxed and whether stimulation is consistent in the areas where nerve sensitivity is highest. From a medical standpoint, this involves two elements working together at the same time: comfortable blood flow to the pelvic tissues and steady stimulation near the front of the pelvis while internal movement occurs. When these two elements are synchronized, the brain receives a clear and continuous signal of pleasure. When they are not, sensation can feel fragmented or muted, even if affection and attraction are present. This is why many women describe feeling emotionally connected but physically underwhelmed, and why many men feel confused despite their genuine efforts. Research in sexual medicine has shown that only a smaller portion of women experience peak sensation from internal movement alone. Most report that external stimulation plays a central role, not as an added feature, but as a core requirement for the experience to feel complete. This is not a flaw or a preference shaped by culture. It is a reflection of anatomy and nerve distribution. Understanding this simple fact often relieves years of tension in a relationship. Men realize they have not been failing, they have simply been focusing on the wrong signals. More force or faster movement does not improve sensation if it disrupts contact or circulation. In fact, doing less with more awareness often produces far better results. Another factor that is frequently overlooked is the state of the nervous system. When the body is tense, anxious, or straining to maintain an uncomfortable position, the brain shifts into a mode of control rather than enjoyment. Muscles tighten, blood flow becomes less efficient, and sensation dulls. When the body feels supported and unhurried, the opposite occurs. The calming branch of the nervous system becomes active, circulation improves, and sensation becomes more vivid. This is why positions or arrangements that appear simple are often the most effective. They allow the body to relax, maintain alignment, and sustain gentle contact without effort. The goal is not novelty, but stability, not display, but responsiveness. One example that illustrates this principle well is side-by-side closeness, where both partners are lying comfortably on their sides. From a medical perspective, this arrangement reduces strain on joints and muscles, which is especially important as people age. The pelvis remains aligned, movement stays controlled, and the body can remain close without tension. The sensation is created not through force, but through steady contact and shared rhythm. Small details matter here. Supporting the hips or knees with a pillow can prevent twisting in the lower back and help maintain a natural angle. Movement tends to be shorter and more rhythmic, which helps preserve circulation and avoid overstimulation. Many couples find that alternating gentle motion with moments of stillness allows sensation to build gradually without pressure. Another deeply connective arrangement involves facing one another while seated, allowing direct eye contact and chest-to-chest contact. This orientation promotes emotional bonding through visual cues and synchronized breathing. From a physiological point of view, it provides stability, allowing one partner to guide rhythm and angle without strain. Instead of thrusting motions, the sensation comes from gentle rocking and sustained contact, which keeps stimulation consistent and comfortable. This type of closeness is particularly beneficial for individuals with limited mobility or reduced strength, as it does not rely on endurance or flexibility. It allows intimacy to continue longer, with less fatigue, and often with a greater sense of emotional presence. When partners lie face to face, fully supported, another important mechanism comes into play: The ability to read subtle facial expressions and breathing patterns helps both nervous systems adjust in real time. This mutual regulation increases comfort and trust. A slight adjustment, such as supporting the hips with a small cushion, can improve alignment and enhance sensation without increasing effort. In these moments, the most effective movements are often the smallest. Short, gentle motions combined with steady forward contact help maintain continuity of sensation. The body responds best when stimulation does not abruptly stop and start. Consistency allows the brain to remain engaged and receptive. As intimacy deepens, many couples discover that changing angles matters more than increasing force. A folded towel or pillow can transform how the body receives sensation simply by altering alignment. These adjustments are not signs of weakness or age, they are practical tools that respect how the body works. All of these approaches share a common principle. They prioritize comfort, circulation, and responsiveness over intensity. They allow the body to relax and the nervous system to remain calm. When that happens, pleasure becomes more accessible and connection feels natural rather than forced. In the next part, we will explore how shared control, communication, and thoughtful adjustments can further strengthen intimacy, including why giving one partner more control often increases trust and satisfaction for both. As couples grow older together, one of the most meaningful shifts that can occur is a change in how control and communication are shared. Many men are surprised to learn that intimacy often improves when they stop trying to lead every movement and instead create conditions where their partner can guide what feels best. This is not about stepping back emotionally, it is about stepping into awareness. When a woman has the ability to adjust angle, rhythm, and depth in real time, her body can respond without fear of discomfort. From a medical perspective, this sense of control reduces protective muscle tension and allows circulation to remain steady. Confidence at the physical level translates into relaxation at the neurological level, and that is where sensation becomes richer. One arrangement that reflects this principle well is when the woman positions herself on top while remaining close and face to face. In this orientation, she can subtly shift her hips to maintain contact where sensation is strongest. The movement is rarely vertical or forceful. More often, it is circular or gently swaying, keeping the pelvis in contact and preserving external stimulation naturally. What matters here is not movement size, but continuity. When contact remains steady, blood flow is not interrupted, and the nervous system does not reset. If fatigue appears, simple support such as pillows or leaning slightly forward can reduce strain. The goal is to remove effort, not add complexity. Emotionally, this arrangement can be transformative. Many women describe feeling more confident and secure when they can guide the experience without needing to explain or correct. For their partners, learning to stay present, attentive, and responsive rather than directive often deepens trust. Calm presence becomes more valuable than motion. There is also a commonly misunderstood orientation that, when adjusted thoughtfully, can become deeply satisfying. When partners are aligned from behind, the experience can vary greatly depending on angle and pressure. Without attention, it may feel too intense or disconnected. With small changes, it can become balanced and comfortable. The key lies in pelvic alignment. When the hips are slightly tilted forward and the legs remain closer together, internal contact shifts away from overly sensitive areas and toward tissue that responds more positively. Supporting the hips with a cushion can help maintain this angle without effort. Slow, controlled movement combined with steady external contact keeps sensation integrated rather than overwhelming. This is where communication plays a vital role. Gentle words, a hand placed reassuringly, or a simple question can maintain emotional connection. Contrary to old beliefs, speaking during intimacy does not break the moment. It often strengthens it by reducing uncertainty and building trust. The brain interprets reassurance as safety, and safety allows pleasure to grow. Many men worry that pausing or slowing down will reduce excitement. In reality, brief moments of stillness often intensify sensation. When movement stops for a few seconds while contact remains, the nervous system has time to register what is happening. This pause allows sensation to spread rather than dissipate. Breathing together is another powerful yet underestimated tool. When partners consciously match their breathing for even half a minute, the calming system of the body activates. Muscles soften, circulation improves, and awareness increases. This shared rhythm creates a sense of unity that no technique can replace. Another frequent misconception is that maturity limits pleasure. In clinical practice, the opposite is often true. With age comes greater body awareness and emotional insight. While flexibility or endurance may change, sensitivity does not disappear. It simply requires different conditions to express itself. Simple supports, such as pillows or folded towels, are not signs of decline. They are practical adjustments that align the body more effectively. A small change in angle can make the difference between strain and ease. Ease allows the body to remain open and responsive. Couples who thrive in later years share one common trait. They pay attention. They notice changes in breathing, shifts in posture, subtle sounds, or moments of stillness. They respond without judgment or urgency. This responsiveness is a form of intimacy in itself. When tension appears, they do not push through it. They adjust, they slow down, they reconnect through touch or words. This approach transforms intimacy from a performance into a conversation, one that continues to evolve over time. In the next and final part, we will bring these ideas together into a simple guiding principle and explore how presence, listening, and small adjustments can sustain intimacy through every stage of life. When everything we have discussed is distilled to its essence, one principle remains clear. Lasting intimacy is not built on novelty or effort, but on the ability to create conditions where the body feels safe, supported, and understood. Positions, movements, and adjustments are only tools. What truly matters is the state of attention behind them. In medical practice, we often describe pleasure as an advanced form of communication. The body sends signals long before words appear. Changes in breathing, subtle shifts in muscle tone, warmth, stillness, or small sounds all carry information. Couples who learn to notice and respond to these signals develop a quiet fluency that no instruction manual can replace. One of the most reliable indicators of alignment is breathing. When breathing deepens and becomes rhythmic, the nervous system is receptive. When breath becomes shallow or held, the body is protecting itself. This is not failure, it is feedback. Slowing down, adjusting angle, or simply drawing closer often restores comfort and flow. Stillness deserves special mention. In many cultures, movement is equated with success, yet the body often experiences its most intense sensations during brief pauses. When contact remains steady and movement stops for a few seconds, the brain interprets this as safety. Tension decreases and sensation spreads. Learning to remain present during these pauses transforms them into moments of depth rather than awkwardness. Muscle tone provides another guide. A relaxed body feels warm and responsive. A tense body feels rigid or distant. When resistance appears, the solution is rarely more effort. It is almost always gentleness, reassurance, or a change in support. A calm voice or a simple question can restore trust more effectively than any physical adjustment alone. Communication during intimacy is often misunderstood. Many believe that silence preserves passion. In reality, kind and simple words often strengthen connection. Asking if something feels comfortable or expressing reassurance reduces uncertainty. The brain responds to this clarity by releasing tension, which allows sensation to return naturally. As couples age, this approach becomes even more valuable. The body changes, but sensitivity remains. What shifts is the need for better alignment, more patience, and greater awareness. Those who adapt discover that intimacy does not fade with time. It matures, it becomes quieter, deeper, and more meaningful. There is no single ideal position, rhythm, or formula. What couples enjoy most is not a specific arrangement, but the freedom to adjust without pressure. The ability to maintain comfortable contact, preserve circulation, and respond to feedback creates a sense of ease that supports pleasure. Many long-term couples rediscover connection not by adding something new, but by removing unnecessary effort. Shorter movements, better support, shared breathing, and attentive presence often achieve more than intensity ever could. When the body feels at home, it opens naturally. The most fulfilled couples I've observed do not focus on technique. They focus on listening. They notice when to slow down, when to pause, and when to gently change direction. They understand that tenderness does not weaken passion, it refines it. At its core, intimacy is not about proving anything. It is about staying present with another person, about choosing curiosity over assumption, about allowing the body to guide rather than forcing it to perform. With time, desire does not disappear. It transforms. It becomes less urgent and more intentional, less about display and more about connection. This is not loss, it is evolution. When intimacy is approached with respect for physiology, empathy for the nervous system, and attention to subtle signals, it becomes sustainable. It becomes something that supports emotional health as much as physical closeness. The quiet truth is this: pleasure is not something you take or create through effort. It is something that emerges when the body feels understood. When two people slow down enough to listen, adjust, and breathe together, intimacy becomes less about age or ability and more about presence. That presence is available at every stage of life. It does not depend on strength, flexibility, or performance. It depends on care, awareness, and the willingness to respond rather than assume. When intimacy is treated as a shared language rather than a test, it becomes a source of calm, connection, and mutual respect. And that, more than anything else, is what allows desire to continue unfolding with grace across the years.